Ladies and gentlemen, y'all know what day it is, and y'all know what's happening tomorrow. It's your boy Cool McCain, Eagles Elite Podcast. We in the building. Hey, we got to talk about what we think is going to happen with the draft. We may know about rolling in, all that good stuff. But before we get to any of that, we got some more juiciness that we got to cover. But we're going to get to all that in a minute or two here. But we definitely want the interaction tonight. Who y'all think the Eagles are going to draft? And of course, we might talk about the betting on time. Sometimes we get into the Eagle stuff a little serious. We may even talk about where we think some of the QBs are going to go that we think are going to be drafted here in the first round, maybe early second. So it's time to get it, y'all. We've been talking about the draft. We've been breaking things down. It's here. So we go ahead and get my boy Wyatt in the building with me. What up, Wyatt?
What's going on, everybody? How you doing, Eagles Nation? One day away from draft day. I'm very excited to see what Howie's cooking up here in the old war room going into draft night.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And for all your draft coverage, you check out youtube.com/@realplaycallers. Your boy Cool, and maybe Wyatt if he decides he want to slide through. We're going to be having a panel type discussion, talking to all things NFL draft. We give you the whole first round. We're not playing no games. But ladies and gentlemen, before we get started, it is the off season, so we don't do all the extra stuff sometime. But today, we're gonna hit you with that intro, and then we're gonna get into it. Let's go.
The kick is away, and the kick is it's good! And the Eagles win!
It's hard to come to South Philadelphia and leave here with the win. You just don't come to Philadelphia and leave here with the win.
Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you. Let the celebration begin.
Yes,
all right, man. So we back in the building. Got a couple of comments we're gonna slide into, and then we digging into it. So Benny Boom is in the building with the once again. It's on. The draft is almost here. Are you ready?
On, Benny?
What up, Benny?
Rocking the Benny tonight.
Yes, sir. Got the Benny Boom original special on as well. Philly's in the building with the what's up.
Let's go on, Philly.
Then she hits us with the hey, Cool and Wyatt. Philly. Always good to have you in the building. So y'all, like I say, man, it's draft. But before we get to the draft, couple of things. So number one, as I was telling my fellow Eagles fan base and nation and all that, breathe easy on the whole Isaiah Rodgers just didn't get reinstated yet. Oh, the NFL is BS and they cheating and blah, blah, blah. It wasn't close enough to time for suspension to be over. It is now, and guess what? He has been reinstated. So my question to my co-host Wyatt is, do you think the fact that he has been officially reinstated is going to affect the Eagles draft plans on tomorrow?
I do not. No, because I don't think. Because I mean, we have seen what he has been able to do over there in the Colts, but I mean, dude's been off a year. You got to think Bradbury's up there. He had coming off a terrible year. Who knows what he's going to do this season? Who knows if he's going to be on the roster this season as of right now? Slay, he's coming towards the end of his career as well. He's getting up there. So we're going to be looking at a lot of young guys going here in the future. So, I mean, is it going to be Kelly Ringo, Eli Ricks, Isaiah Rodgers? I feel like we need a definitive cornerback that could be a staple of this franchise going forward, because it's been a long time since we actually went out and drafted a superstar or an elite cornerback. So I think we definitely do. I think we go up and actually draft a CB. I think we actually trade up to get one here at this point. I mean, we'll get into that a little bit later, but I don't think this changes anything.
Well, I'm going to have to take an opposite opinion of you, sir. I do believe that the guys that you just named, and Ringo, Ricks, as well as Rodgers, as well as even CJ who has the ability to play corner as well. I think we have a lot of guys on the roster that have experience, guys that have played, and guys that we have to find out what they have. So with needing so much at linebacker, which we definitely need we need to draft somebody at linebacker who's going to be part of this team long term. We got a lot of guys that are, I would call them fill-ins this year, and they may turn into more. But I think we're now going to focus on linebacker with at least one of these picks. I've been on the wide receiver train the whole time. I think this could affect where we draft the corner, not necessarily if we draft the corner, but I think corner, if the right guy fell, maybe something we would have went after in the first round if we weren't sure about Isaiah Rodgers. But he's definitely been off. But we've seen guys have the year off and come back and be better. Like Kelvin Ridley, for instance. He took the year off, came back, had a wonderful year. So I think we will see this have some effect. Will this stop the Eagles from drafting a cornerback at all? That's probably a no. If we're looking at it from that angle, it's probably a no. But I think it drops. Yeah, it drops it down the list of priorities. It's not like, oh, we got to get one early because we don't got nobody. It's like, we still could use another one, but we do have someone who can play said position and be a staple for the next couple of years. He did well in Indy, and this is going to be, no matter what anybody says, it's going to be a similar system because they all believe in that bend but don't break crap. All these disciples of the Red Walrus and people that are influenced by the disciples of the Red Walrus, they all believe in the same thing. So I think we got that, but so I guess I'm saying yes and no at the same time.
Okay.
But we got in the building, got the yak in hand. Let's go. I know you're gonna be heavy on the yak tomorrow. And then we got Benny. Benny says, "What if the top two cornerbacks is off the board? Would you trade for Surtain?" I would not trade for Surtain, sir. I am not in the trade for Surtain group. Surtain is going to cost you a lot of money when it's time to pay him. And I feel like, while I'm not saying he's not worth the money, because I would never disrespect that man and say that, what I will say is we have a lot of other needs, especially on the defensive side of the ball besides corner. I think everybody's got on this Surtain. Oh, Surtain, he's the best corner. He said he's one of the top, I say 5 corners without a doubt. Right? But at the end of the day, is him by himself going to make us a contender? Is giving up assets and players and draft picks to get Surtain going to make us any better than we were last year? No, we're just going to have a high cost, high paid cornerback, and we still got to fill in all the other positions. Still got to figure out everything else. So for me, I wouldn't go heavy on the Surtain train, but I'm not knocking anyone that does. But I'm just looking at the team.
Yeah.
Cornerback isn't one of the things where I feel like we need a guy right now.
Facts. I agree. Yeah, I mean, even if Denver was kind of selling low with him, like you said, if you trade for him, you're going to have to sign him to that contract extension almost either when as soon as you sign him or the next year after you sign him.
Yeah, because he's in the same draft class with Smitty, right?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So I mean, you can sign a bunch of dudes to contract extensions this offseason. I don't know if you really want to go ahead and do that. That was part of the reason. I mean, we got rid of Son Reddick as well. I mean, who knows what kind of how similar the pay is going to be, because I mean it's 2 separate positions. But that's one of the reasons we got rid of Son Reddick as well. So I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of on the train where it's like if we did, that's fine. I'm okay with it. But I feel like we can address that need somewhere else within the draft or somewhere else. King DV, what's going on, man?
What up, DV? DV in the building with the what's good, fam? What's good, DV? Hey, DV, I'm gonna be hollering at you next week, bro, for the draft breakdown show after the draft. So, hey, we're trying to lock you in for next week. Snowman, what up, Snowman? Appreciate you hopping in, man. And I want to say real quick, Snowman. So you know how you meet some people, right? And it just gets you connected real good with other people. Without Brian Snow, the Snowman, a lot of people that I do things with, I would never have met. You know, like Wise, El Jefe, Ryan, D. Willie, Cole. You know what I'm saying? All those cats, Playmaker. A lot of the cats that I do things with, I met by us connecting, doing Snowman shows or doing things with Snowman. So shout out to Snowman, man, because he's been like a big connector and a big help You know what I'm saying? And what I've been doing in podcasts and so forth. So shout out to you, Snowman. I like to give dudes their flowers while they're here, not after they're gone. So appreciate you for that, man. But yeah, man, we got something else we got to talk about before we dig into the real stuff. We got something else we got to talk about. Snowman says, I am humbled and honored. Sir Reginald Bushrod, or as everyone else calls him, Reggie Bush, had his Heisman reinstated. So what's funny about it is we know all the NIL and all that stuff happened, but people have been calling for it for years. But I was doing some research up on it, and some of the guys that are Heisman winners, like Charlie Ward, for instance, I'm not going to name anybody else, but Charlie Ward came out and said, I said he should be back. There's some other guys too, but he was adamant. So I like the fact that Reggie gets it back because a lot of the shady dealers were USC. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was implicated in it because his fam got money, but the money never really passed through him.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, and I did double check today, I feel like what happened is the fam got paid on the back end off of him going there, you know, and maybe influenced him to go there because they knew the bread was coming, which I ain't really knocking that either. But it's just, it was a time where that wasn't like it is now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he went down to save the university. So I like the fact that he gets the opportunity to have his Heisman back and be included in all the Heisman activities. So he goes from being the guy that's pretty much banned from the Heisman stuff to now he can go to all the Heisman activities. When they present new Heisman, do Heisman House and all that stuff, we're going to start to see Reggie Bush again. They're not hiding him away no more. So your thoughts on the whole Reggie Bush situation, man?
Yeah, man, I think it's about time. You know, I've always been on the, get Reggie Bush trophy back train. And I mean, it's been like, what was it, a couple years ago that he was trying to get it back and they denied him as well again. And it's like all of a sudden they want a heel turn. So I hope they gave him an apology along with that trophy back as well, because he certainly deserves one.
Yeah, I definitely agree he does. I'm excited, man. Getting Isaiah Rodgers back is big for me. Because like I say, man, everybody's talking about, oh, let's get this guy, let's get that guy. We need a corner. We don't have to get a corner in the first round. I don't feel like we needed a corner in the first round prior to the Rodgers injury. So I definitely don't feel like we need one. Well, prior to Rodgers being reinstated, I say injury because I'm thinking, everybody's always getting hurt. But I don't think we needed a corner in the first round unless somebody really dropped. Like, I did a mock draft on Monday, and one of the teams I picked for was the Eagles. And in that mock draft, the top rated corner was still on the board at 22. So if you can get the top rated corner in the draft at 22, I mean, that's no brainer. You go for that.
Yeah, you make the best pick at that position. Yeah.
Right. I don't believe that would happen in real life, but a lot of receivers went early, a lot of different other positions, like always happens when somebody kind of slides down and it happened to be corner. And someone picked the corners behind him without picking him. So I'm like, I do realize this is the top rated corner. Like,
yeah, it doesn't really make any sense.
Yeah, do you? But I'm gonna do me, and I'm gonna get the best corner if he's still on the board at 22. So,
but then again, I did see Jalen Reagor get picked before Justin Jefferson in a draft as well.
Still a sore spot, I feel you though. So Benny says, I'm hoping that we get Cooper from Texas A&M. He's definitely a game changer.
He's one that's been talked about a lot, I feel.
Yeah, he's definitely a guy that's been on the radar for sure. Definitely been on the radar, man. There's a lot of people that are getting talked about depending on where you're looking.
Now, would you take a cornerback higher? Say, I mean, they haven't alluded to this or anything. If they decided to like move on from Bradbury before the season starts, would you take a CB higher at that point? No,
it wouldn't affect where I would pick a corner because I don't look at Bradbury as like a full-time starter anymore.
As like a rotational piece at this point.
Yeah, I look at him more like he may start, but he's not gonna. Let me not say a full-time starter because it's disrespectful.
I know what you mean.
But I think it's more like I wouldn't give up anything extra to get one.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't do anything. I wouldn't trade up if we trade him unless he's involved in a trade and there's a specific guy that they really want to jump up and get. I would sit where we're at, and then I would kind of roll with how things go. Now, a lot of mock drafts do have in a corner in the first round, and like I said, depending on how the draft plays itself,
Yeah.
that's who I would pick.
And that's the hardest part to predict is the trades and who moves up, who moves back. Surprise picks.
Yep. So we'll see how that does play itself out. Very interested in how that all goes. So, hey man, there's no time like the present. We done got about 15 minutes in. It's that time. If you're watching live, give us your picks in the comments. You know, Benny's not shy of giving his picks for sure, but give us those picks in the comments on who you think. If you're watching the replay, you agree with our picks, bet. If you don't, hey, it is what it is. You should have been here live, and then you could have told us how you feel. How about that? All right, man. So we'll start with round one, of course. Ain't nowhere else that you really can start. So, first pick. We're going to assume for the sake of mock drafting that we're not trading up, that we're taking the picks where they're at. So, round one, pick 22. Who are you taking?
Not gonna lie, I'm gonna go with what old Benny Boom says. I'm gonna say Cooper DeJean.
I like DeJean, but I'm gonna actually do something a little different, but similar. I'm gonna go on Marius Mims, the offensive tackle for Georgia.
Oh, okay.
The reason I'm gonna say that is you can never have enough guys that can play on the offensive line. We know Lane Johnson's getting up there. Mims is a guy who you really can work him to play both sides. So more versatility. Another young guy that can learn on the offensive line for the future. And you know how we love those Georgia players.
Yeah, you're right.
We do love those Georgia players. All right. And then round two, pick 50. Who you got?
I mean, to be honest, I was gonna go with an offensive tackle, but that's the perfect pick. Like what you just made. If he was still available in round two, I would go with Mims as well. Get that offensive tackle. I did like another one that I mentioned last week as well, but he's gonna be going. He's dropping a little further. So, I mean, in round two, I would definitely go with an offensive lineman at that point. So yeah, I'll go with Mims there.
I'll go with Mims at 1, but I feel you.
Okay.
In the second round, I've got two guys and I've got to make a decision. So either the safety from Georgia, Javon Bullard, but probably more than that, I'd probably go with Adisa Isaac from Penn State, the edge rusher. I think edge is something we definitely need to beef up a little bit because we could really put BG on the defensive line in a rotation if we were to get some other guys that could play that edge. So I'm going to go with Adisa Isaac, the edge from Penn State. I think it's time to get the edge rusher in the second round.
Interesting. Okay.
So then we turn it around again. Round two, pick 53. Who you got us taking there?
Let me see here. It was only a couple picks later is what we pick?
Pick 53. So 3 picks later.
Let me see here. I'll go with wide receiver, like you're saying. I'm gonna go with Xavier Worthy.
Okay. I'm gonna go with Junior Colson, the linebacker from Michigan. We definitely need a linebacker. I think this is a great spot to pick one. I wouldn't be upset if we picked him at 50 and then with Isaac or even your pick at 53. But you know, I went with the edge at 50, so I'm gonna go with 53. I'm gonna go linebacker. I'm focusing on defense in the early rounds of the draft because, quite simply,
that's the need as of right now.
You know what I'm saying? All right, so round 4, pick 120. Who you got?
Let me see here. I'm trying to pick like who might be around available at that time.
That makes it trickier because you got to keep going down the list. Like, all right, we about here, so somebody in this range. Yeah.
So I had like a list pulled up on my phone as well as like on my computer. Like I had a couple guys saved, but I'm trying to see if they were actually might drop that far or not.
I got you. Well, if you like, I can go ahead and go. I got mine.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
All right, so I've got wide receiver Brendan Rice from USC, Jerry Rice's son. He did pretty good the last 2 years at USC when he left
Okay.
Colorado. Played outside receiver at USC. But we know that right now on the depth chart, they have Devontae Parker outside and Devontae Smith in the slot. I think you could bring him in. You could probably teach him all 3 positions in the route tree for all 3.
Mm-hmm.
And in that way, you can kind of move them throughout the offense. So if you want to create a mismatch, you have 3 guys that you can kind of do that with. So,
yeah, absolutely.
That's what I'm going with.
If he's still available at this point, I would take what's his name, Evan Williams, the safety out of Oregon.
I wouldn't be upset with that. All right, so then we're picking it in round 5, pick 161. We got
round 5. 161.
Uh-huh.
I'll go with an edge. I'll go with Javon Solomon.
All right. So this is where I'm going to go with the safety. I'm going to go with Keaton Oladapo from Oregon State. I think this is a good point to grab that safety.
Okay.
Again, it's not a guy that we're going to expect to start right away. So he's going to have an opportunity to learn. I know safety's a little stacked, but attrition, injury, we know how that goes. So, yeah, I'm going to go with somebody who we can kind of work with a little bit, work on, and have them ready by mid-season if they need it. All right, and round 5, pick 171 now. So 2 picks left. They're back-to-back.
Oh, boy.
Actually, sorry, 3 picks left, but these 2 are back-to-back. I forgot we do have a 6-rounder as well.
I'm not sure because I don't know. I don't have too much knowledge on these boys, so hopefully at this point this is a good pick if he's available. But I'm gonna go with linebacker. I'm gonna go with who's rumored with us for the longest time. I'm gonna go with Jeremiah Trotter Jr.
Wow, in the 5th round? Okay.
If he's still available.
If he's still available in the 5th round, that's a problem. I feel you. I'm gonna go with Kalen King, the cornerback for Penn State. Outside cornerback for Penn State. He had 18 pass breakups and 3 interceptions in 2022. Didn't have as good of a year in 2023. He doesn't have elite speed. He does play special teams as well, so he can be like a safety as well. He could be another guy that in a couple of years, if CJGJ kind of prices himself out of what we can do, maybe this is a guy that we can, get in that same mold. Maybe he ends up being a special teamer for us. The speed does concern me a little bit, but that's the reason why he's there in the 5th round. All right, and then the next pick, we have back-to-back picks. So the next pick, we got round 5, pick 172. So I'll go here. I got Isaac Garendo, running back from Louisville.
Oh, okay, running back.
I think we need a running back. We got to get a running back in the draft. We'll see how he goes in the pros, but you can get some gems at running back later because running back is one of those positions that even draft you probably only start drafting to mid-2nd round nowadays.
Okay. With that one, I'll go with the defensive tackle, Dwayne Carter.
Okay. And then in round 6, I'm gonna go with tight end AJ Barner from Michigan. He's 6'6", transferred to Michigan in 2023. Definitely needs to develop, but he can play in line and he can contribute as a blocker.
Yeah, we definitely need that.
Yeah, and he's a good developmental guy, right? It's day 3 already by now, so you kind of getting what's out there, what you could develop. So I think he would be a good option to kind of learn um, behind Uzoma and Goddard.
Okay. I'll go with a running back here for the next one, since it's back to back. Take
This is the second one, yeah.
Marshawn Lloyd. Yeah,
Okay.
Marshawn Lloyd, running back, Southern California.
Okay. Yeah. There's a lot of and I mean, obviously, this is just what we're thinking, guys. It's not necessarily written in stone or anything like that. So Benny says, I'm hoping we can get Cooper. Oh yeah, we did read that one. He also says, great pick in the 4th round, Brennan Rice, if he's there. I was thinking about in the 3rd round picking Christian McCaffrey's brother, but I feel like if you get Rice in the 4th, it makes more sense to do that, just so we got guys kind of smoothed out on the R&B hip hop tip and all that good stuff. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, right. So any rumors that you've heard about the draft, the Eagles possibly moving up, anything like that you've heard about?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple big ones. What was it, yesterday or the day before, saying that out of all the teams are saying the Eagles are doing their homework on cornerbacks the most, that there's a huge possibility that we trade up for a corner at some point. And then today I saw this morning that there's rumors saying we might trade up for a wide receiver at this point. I was like, I find it more likely we would go up for a cornerback than a wide receiver. I feel like wide receiver, I know you've been beating a drum to draft one. I'm just not sure it's a huge priority at that point, especially with re-signing Devontae. You have AJ on the squad. I'm not sure if you want to take a wide receiver in the 1st round and have to pay big money in a couple years to keep him around, depending on what's going on with AJ. But it's hard to look that far ahead.
I'd say if we're going to go wide receiver in round 1, I would move up.
Yeah,
I would
stay where you're at.
go so far as to say if we're going to go wide receiver in the 1st round, if somebody wants our pick and we move back 3 or 4 picks, I would even do that, because you can get some good cornerbacks. I mean, good wide receivers like pick 27, 28. You can still get probably a solid wide receiver that could be your number 3, or that can play outside and move Smitty into the slot, which is where he would just completely freaking dominate.
Oh yeah, which is
so
crazy why they haven't done it more.
That's a whole nother conversation. Definitely. I do agree. That's a whole nother conversation. I mean, we could have it if you like, but there's definitely something that should happen more. More versatility. We see guys in the same spot, especially last year. I'm hoping after we get this draft, we get these new coaches and everything in, that we start to get guys that are going to focus on doing what we need to do to make this team the best that it can be. And one of those things is moving people around. We talked about 2 years ago, versatility, how we needed to have guys who could play all these different positions and do all these different things at the wide receiver position, and they haven't done it yet. So don't talk about it, be about it. Move this stuff around, make this thing happen. What's good? What's really, really, really good? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, let's see some versatility. Let's scheme some guys open, put them in different positions. It doesn't make sense not to do it,
At least it doesn't make sense to us not to do it. It might make sense to some guys and make some decisions not to do it, but that's kind of what it is. So yeah, man, we got through ours pretty quick. So let's have a little fun. We have some time. I did hear a rumor as well that we were looking to either move up or move back and obtain more draft picks if we move back in the future, or combine some of our picks and move up in the later rounds, which both make sense to me. I wouldn't mind, like I said, moving back a few spots if wide receiver is the target. If cornerback's the target, I think you want to see how the draft goes, because somebody's going to fall. And I think wide receivers are going to go flying off the board early.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we're going to get in a situation where we do have a lot of corners that are going to be left, if that's the way we want to go. But like I said, man, strategically, I would go wide receiver in the first round late. Maybe I'd even drop back to like 27 to do so, like 27, 28 maybe. But the reason is you
Okay.
can get another pick and you get a wide receiver. You control that 5th year, right? So you get him
True.
where you can control everything for 4 years, and then once you hit that 5th year is where you have to pay him. At either that 4th year or 5th year, you have to pay him, but you still would have that last year of the rookie deal as well.
Mm-hmm. It's not a bad
So that's
idea.
just, yeah, that's to me is the reason why if you need a quarterback, you pick a quarterback in the first round. So like if your team at near the end of the draft, you need a quarterback. Maybe Michael Penix Jr. is there, maybe JJ McCarthy's there, maybe whoever. But if there's a guy that you think could be close to being a first round talent at the end of the first round, you should definitely jump on him because you control him for 5 years. And being able to control these guys for that 5th year when they're good at a team option, that is
Yeah.
it's a really good
It's a
thing to
huge
have.
help.
Favor. So hey, we get one must do what one must do. That's what it is. That's what it always will be. I know tonight we got the playoffs, so a lot of things going on. So a lot of things maybe pulling people away from, seeing a show live like we normally get there. But hey, that's all good. I ain't mad at you, but I will tell you this: this is the place you want to be for this time frame. So Wyatt, let's do this, man. We got some time left here, so let's do this. We're gonna throw out some players, and we can go back and forth. I can throw out one, you can throw out one. We're gonna throw out some players here, and just talk about where we think they're gonna go. Whether it's a wide receiver, whether it's a quarterback, whatever position. We'll definitely cover the quarterbacks, but if we cover some other people too, all good.
Okay.
So I'll let you start. First guy you want to talk about where they're gonna go.
Where do you think Marvin Harrison goes?
I've got him at 4 to Arizona. He doesn't get past
Ooh.
Arizona. I call Kyler Murray the toddler. I think the toddler needs a number 1 wide receiver. He needs a guy that's a legitimate number 1 that he can throw the ball up to after he ran around for 5 minutes, like a toddler don't want to get their pamper changed, about to get a spanking and throw the ball. So he needs somebody that's going to be able to make those plays. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is uniquely suited to be able to be that guy. Kind of like when they had DeAndre Hopkins and he was having a good season with them.
Okay. Yeah, I did see a lot of mock drafts that had him going at 4. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I don't have him getting past there. All right, so I am going to say where do you think that Drake May goes?
The Patriots. I think that's because I did see rumors about the Vikings possibly trading up with the Patriots to get Drake May. So I can definitely see the Vikings getting him as well. But I think the Patriots, they have to get a quarterback right now, right?
Yeah, I have to
Or you
agree
think
with
they're
you
going to
on
go
that.
with another Michigan boy, try to get JJ McCarthy?
I would definitely go May over McCarthy, and I think both of those guys are more the type of quarterback that they would want. There, so I think he's definitely the guy that they would go with. There's definitely more along the lines of the type of quarterback that they're going to want in New England. A guy that's going to run a system. He's got a little bit of ability to run. Still has some work to do on accuracy, reading defenses, things like that. But he's a gifted kid at throwing the ball. He's a redshirt sophomore as well, so he didn't even do, you know what I'm saying? He only did 3 years in college. So yeah, definitely, I think that's the move for him. So who you got next?
Let's see here. Trying to go down a list. Where do you think Bo Nix goes?
So Bo Nix is kind of tricky because it all depends upon where you rank Bo Nix.
Mm-hmm.
Right, because Bo Nix is a hard one. Trying to think who would need. Cause see, I don't have as high of opinion of Bo Nix as most people do. So I'm trying to take my personal thoughts out of it, right, and kind of do an actual good fit for him. Bo Nix. Let me see who needs a quarterback here that will be beneficial for getting Bo Nix. That's a good question. That's probably the first guy that's got like, So like I said, I'm trying to take my own personal bias out and just look at it from because I've got McCarthy going before Nix, so I think he's a better quarterback. Personally, I think Michael Penix Jr. is a better quarterback than him too. So now I got to think once you get past those guys, who still needs a QB. So let's see here. Nothing. I mean, I think he's going to go in the first round. I think it's going to be the later part of the first round. I would probably say for Bo Nix, no, not there. Well, I want to say a team, but they would have to trade back to do it. So we're not going to trade back. Nobody at the bottom of the draft really needs the bottom of the first round. I'm going to say, let me see where if their original position. It's a team I got in mind. I just want to see if their original position makes sense. Because I think they're going to make a trade. So possibly 12 to the Broncos.
Oh, okay.
I think they need a quarterback. It's going to have to be after McCarthy because I like McCarthy a little bit better, especially at number 11 to Minnesota. And I'll just ask you about McCarthy since I already brought him up. But I think Nix goes 12 to the Broncos, or the Broncos have to trade back. He goes to the Broncos. I think the Broncos is a good fit because he gets a chance to show what he can do. The only real competition there is Sam Howell, and the Commanders didn't want to keep Sam Howell, so I feel like he's going to be the backup, maybe the bridge starter. But yeah. So what do you think? So I got McCarthy going to the Vikings. What do you think about McCarthy?
Let's see here.
I had to look through the list to find Nix, but I was like,
yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm looking through.
That was a bit of like,
yeah. I mean, if the Vikings stay at 11, I can definitely see them taking McCarthy. That would probably be the better pick, unless they wanted to trade up for May. Yeah, I go with Minnesota on that one. If they stay at 11, take JJ McCarthy. I feel like that would be a good fit for him.
Yeah, if you're going to go somewhere, you want to go somewhere where you got an opportunity to kind of make some things happen. I definitely feel like he's got that opportunity there that he may not have.
Seems like a good fit for Minnesota.
Yeah. That's another team that just doesn't have a lot of quarterbacks, so you're going to have to get somebody in this draft.
Mm-hmm.
So you got next.
What about Brock Bowers?
My perfect fit for Brock Bowers is the Jets at number 10.
Oh, okay.
And the reason I say the Jets is Bowers does everything. Bowers lines up at wide receiver. He could be a tight end. He can do a little bit of everything. Come out the backfield. And Aaron Rodgers would know how to use a weapon like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's just something else 100%. You can add with Garrett Wilson and Mike Williams when he's healthy. That could be a pretty monstrous little group down there.
Yeah. I would also say the Bengals too, especially if with the trade request T. Higgins has in, if they get rid of him, bring in a dominant tight end that can block.
The only thing about Bowers, he doesn't block much.
Oh, okay.
So if you want a guy that's going to block, you don't want Bowers. You know what I'm saying? He's more like an offensive weapon that plays tight end. I would
Gotcha.
be shocked if he's still there at 18, but because he doesn't block, he could still be there.
Could still slide.
Mm-hmm.
Jets is a good fit,
Yeah.
though. You're right.
Yeah, I think it's a good fit there. Like, I think the Jets is a great fit. Michael Penix Jr. Where you got Michael Penix Jr. going?
Let's see here. What's he ranked? Got him ranked as the 6th QB behind Bo Nix. Huh?
I think his skill set's better than Bo Nix's for a certain team, specific team in mind. But I'll let you
See
say
how many QB needy teams are up in here. Maybe the Raiders? Possibly at 13.
That's who I have him at the Raiders. Actually, I do have him with the Raiders as well.
With the
Because the
Raiders.
perfect fit for the Raiders would be Jaden Daniels, but he's not going to be there at the number 2.
Okay. Yeah, I just
It's
can't
not-
see too many other teams taking him.
Right. So if not Jaden Daniels, I think Michael Penix Jr. is a good secondary option for the Raiders. So that it would be a good guy to slide in there.
Who's their starter over there right now?
Nobody really. Like they have somebody on the depth chart, but they don't really have a starting quarterback. That's why I say
Yeah.
I feel like it's really got to take a quarterback in this draft. And at 13, I think Michael Penix Jr. is going to probably be your best option that's still available. But even if you were picking in the top 10, I think Michael Penix is a better fit for the Raiders than McCarthy or Bo Nix.
Oh, the QB is Gardner Minshew. They just signed him this offseason. So, yeah.
Nobody.
They need to get a QB.
Yeah, because I think it's a guy that's a great backup.
you guys got a good backup, and that's it.
You got a wonderful QB2. You got a top tier QB2. But you need a one. You need a one. All right, so I've already said, I'm sure you probably agree, but Jaden Daniels.
Washington, you think?
Chocolate City, like my man Stephen say. Chocolate City. All right, so the top cornerback that we have is Terrion Arnold from Alabama. Where do you think he's going to go?
They have him ranked as the number 1 CB?
Mm-hmm. On NFL.com, they do.
Okay. Let me see here. I don't see him going in the top 10 or anything.
Yeah, because a lot of people are getting pushed back because of his love for the quarterback position.
Maybe Jacksonville or Seattle at either 16 or 17.
I can see 16 in Seattle. You know, like I said, they definitely need some help there. You got to try to rebuild a Legion of Boom.
Yeah.
Tampa defense, maybe not necessarily the same thing, but something similar to that. So I can definitely see that. All right, so you got anybody else? Maybe one last person.
Yeah,
Do one more
let's look.
each.
I'll go with a guard here. I'll go with Troy Fontenot, number 1 ranked guard.
Yeah, I was thinking about him. I figured you might go that way. He's definitely going around the top 10. I'm gonna say I'm gonna put him in New Orleans at 14.
Okay.
I know they need an offensive tackle, so he'll probably be there for them around the 14th pick. He's going to be one of the top ones off the board, depending on the team it picks. I could see maybe one getting picked above him, and that's Fuaga from Oregon State. But he's definitely probably the higher ranked of the two. But Fuaga, you know, how skill set, you know, stuff like that, he might go a little bit ahead of him. But definitely, yeah, I could see him going to there at 14. The other place, if they decide to go offensive tackle, they need them too as well. The Chicago Bears definitely should be looking for an offensive tackle as well. They may not be, but they should be.
Yeah, they should be. You're right.
Definitely should be.
That O-line
Right,
is
so-
terrible.
Horrible. So last guy, edge rusher from Alabama, Dallas Turner. Where do you think he's going to end up at?
You think he goes in the first round?
Dallas Turner? Definitely.
Yeah.
I think he goes in the first round. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see here. Trying to picture some of these teams' defense.
On the spot get kind of tricky.
It is. I think it's gonna be later, but maybe like the Steelers or the Dolphins.
So I got him going to Atlanta at 8. He's the best edge
Oh
rusher.
wow, that early.
Right.
Oh yeah,
I'm
true.
going-
He is the best from Alabama.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I got him to Atlanta at 8. They definitely need edge rush, and I think they're gonna have to go, you know, with it in the first round.
Yeah, build up that defense a little bit.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. So Wyatt, man, in your expert opinion, what is the biggest need that the Philadelphia Eagles need to fill in the draft? I mean, I'm not talking about draft picks because we know we already got picks, but if you could just say there was one position that we definitely need to draft, that we need to come out of this draft better at, what would that position be?
Linebacker. Just because like you mentioned earlier in the show, it's very plug and play as of right now. All the guys we got were straight out of free agency. I just don't see a lot of those guys sticking around long term. I mean, Howie, you know how he doesn't like to draft linebackers in the draft. Hopefully he can maybe take that chance and go out and get one this year, depending. Doesn't matter if it's, you know, Jeremiah Trotter Jr. or somebody else. Doesn't matter. I feel like that's one of the bigger needs for the Philadelphia Eagles right now. I know we talked about CB and some other positions, but I feel like long-term linebackers one you really got to look at here.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I wouldn't mind if we double dipped in the linebacker pool. I didn't in my mock draft, but I wouldn't mind if we double dipped because I feel like there's going to be somebody there that shouldn't be there, different from what we're anticipating. So I wouldn't be upset if we double dipped in the linebacker pool in the draft. I definitely think linebacker is the number one. Besides linebacker, defensive in tackle, no tackle, defensive line would be somebody that can play on the defensive line would be my second.
Yeah, have even more depth for that line to rotate out during the season.
Yeah, because we definitely want to have the depth, and I think young players is a good way to go because it's a low cost thing, right? We running guys, you
Hmm.
pay guys who've been in the league, a lot of them, a nice piece of change. But when you get to these young guys and they're just kind of rolling in, kind of doing their thing, it's a really good situation to be in. So why, man? I mean, we've kind of went through the things that we wanted to talk about today. We'll definitely be back with a serious breakdown of the picks that we make and what the roster looks like after that next week.
Hmm.
Anything else you want to talk about, man, before we end things for the evening?
I mean, there was a little bit of news, not like anything too crazy because it doesn't involve this draft, but I saw that the
Mhm.
NFL is not going to be able to resolve the investigation into our tampering with Saquon Barkley. It's not going to happen before the draft, so most likely the picks that are affected by that is going to be in next year's or any years after that. But I mean, if it's taken this long, like can't have that much evidence of tampering, huh? Right? Like if it's taken this long, maybe struggling to find some stuff.
Yeah, it does feel like there's a lot of struggle to kind of make things happen. I will say if we do move up in the draft, I hope we're making sure that we're not overdoing it just to get a guy. Like if you really feel like there's a piece that's that much better than who you would draft at 22 for the same position, I'm good with going with that. But I just want to make sure that we make a decision in what we're doing. I'm,
Yes.
I'm good
And
with staying
please,
pat unless we
Howie.
can make a splash move.
And please, Howie, do not reach. Do not reach for anybody that you maybe think is, the steal of the draft. We've seen this story before. We don't need to live through it. Pick the best player available.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, guys, we're doing a draft special. Um, so we're not gonna even hit you with the commercials tonight. We just get the draft special. We'll get up out of here. But what we are gonna do is shout out 502 Angel Radio. Um, you know, great place to catch the show if you're not able to catch it live. Kind of get a little exposure on the radio. If you're watching from any other uh, space, if you're watching on Facebook, if you're listening on the radio, if you're watching from one of the other channels, definitely make sure you hop over um, to youtube.com/at Eagles Elite Podcast. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe there. We
Mhm.
definitely appreciate everyone that views the commercials and everything, everybody that views the show. Everybody that's part of the show, part of different things that do help share the show, helps us get out there. But yeah, we're gonna keep it light tonight. We're gonna keep it short and sweet for y'all. We get it. Um, NBA playoffs in full effect, so a lot of people are drawing on other things. It's all gravy.
Mhm.
When you watch this replay, just remember this is what your boys think prior to the draft, not after, prior. But again, next week we're back.
Oh no, for
We're
sure.
gonna even have a couple of friends in tow, and we're gonna be talking the fallout from the NFL draft for the Philadelphia Eagles. And we may even talk about how well we did based on where people actually are. So, good people, we appreciate you. Like I said, we kept it short and sweet for tonight. Make sure you hit that replay. As always, tell for your friends and for your enemies. Just because they don't like you doesn't mean they won't like us. Woo!
Fly Eagles
And
fly.
also, yeah, and hashtag be elite.
Yes, sir.
And we are going to be out. Catch y'all next week.